Hello everybody, my name is Bradley and welcome back into Civilization 6, where today we will be counting them Benjamins, them dollar bills, y'all. I'm Canadian and I don't even know what currency bill Benjamin Franklin is on. All I know is American money is like very plain looking, papery and lame. We've got that colored, nice, kind of plasticky money up here in Canada. It's so much better. Anyways, today we're talking about commercial hubs and harbors. Out of all the things I love in Civ 6, commercial hubs and harbors are up high on the list of lovable things. Included in that list is liking this video, subscribing to this YouTube channel, checking out the Discord and Twitch links in the description, and becoming a channel member if you want to help support the channel directly and help us keep funding Anvars, who's editing this video and who is amazing, whom I would not be able to live without at the moment. Anyways, commercial hubs and harbors. I struggled a little bit with whether to make this two separate videos or one video combined. I decided that some of the advice and some of the things I want to talk about are similar enough that they should be together, but we'll do them in two separate sections and then together at the end. So let's start with our good old friends, the commercial hubs. Now, commercial hubs on the face of it are a fairly necessary district because you need gold to fund your empire. No matter what you are doing in Civilization 6, you are going to need gold to get it done. What makes commercial hubs a little bit unique is the yield they give. The base yield they give is gold. Obviously, that makes it unique from the other districts that don't give gold. That's a fair point. But what I mean by that is, unlike the other districts, there are loads of other ways to get gold outside of building commercial hubs. If you look at these tiles here, that's like, is this 10 gold? This is 5 per tile? Yeah, 5 gold on these tiles. So if we're looking right here on the map, I have 10 gold per turn on these tiles without a commercial hub in sight. They're all the way over here. That's like a whole boat ride. You gotta climb over the Taj Mahal. You gotta go through the airport to get to these bad boys. So without a commercial hub in sight, I'm getting 10 gold from these tiles here. And there's so many ways that you can acquire gold without using commercial hubs. It's a little bit of a unique district in that its base yield it gives you is something you can acquire in a bunch of different ways. For a comprehensive list of all the ways you can acquire gold, you are gonna have to do a lot of Googling because that list probably doesn't exist because there are so many, and I'm not sure anyone's decided to take a time and list every single way you can accrue gold in Civilization 6. But just because you can accrue gold in a variety of other ways that aren't commercial hub based doesn't mean you shouldn't be building your commercial hubs, which we will take a look at right now. Part of what I like about commercial hubs early on is there are other ways to acquire gold. Sometimes that's based on the luxury resources you have around you. Sometimes that's based on what civ you are, but it does offer a little bit of flexibility. On the occasional game where you can get gold without building commercial hubs, it gives you flexibility about when you need to build them. If there's no other way to get science in your games but to build campuses early, you're kind of stuck building campuses early if you want to get that science rolling. But with commercial hubs, by the time we get them at currency, which isn't too far in the game, but it's far enough into the game that you'll know whether you need commercial hubs right away or whether you can kind of mix and match other districts for a little bit until commercial hubs become a little more necessary. I really like the spot it's in on the tech tree, nice and early, like I mentioned, so if we want commercial hubs, we have the option, but just late enough where we know if we need them. If they came too early and you put a bunch down and learned you didn't need them, it might not be ideal, so I really enjoy where they come in on the tech tree. I also super enjoy currency because the boost is just to build a trade route, something that's so easy to do well before you get to the classical era. So currency's almost always boosted, meaning if you do need commercial hubs urgently in your games, you can kind of just beeline there. And I really like the boost and location on the tech tree of the commercial hubs here. If we open our friend the Civlopedia here and check out the commercial hubs, the Civlopedia is just such a cool tool. If you've never used it before, just click the question mark up here. Boom, you can kind of like in-game Google anything you like. The first thing we know is that it's a district in your city specializing in finance and trade. Good to know. Thank you so much, Mr. Commercial Hub Explanation. It is replaced by the Segoba if you're playing Mali, I believe this is. So there are a few unique commercial hubs in the games. You'll have to check out those civs to figure out what those specific commercial hubs do. Commercial hubs will grant you 1 great merchant point per turn. Now, great merchants aren't my favorite great person tree ever, but there are a few good ones in there, and great merchant points will obviously help you get to those a little bit quicker. There's the one where you can just wholly take over a city-state, which is awesome. There's a few that give you really good amenities. Perfume and jeans are coming to mind. So great merchant points, not a huge deal, not why we're getting the commercial hubs, but certainly a little bit helpful. One of the things that I really enjoy about commercial hubs early on in the game is they have a very easy district adjacency to start really ramping up that gold. You get 2 gold for every adjacent river tile. It's usually so easy. You can imagine a situation like this where you settle on a river, put the commercial hub down, and then it's super easy to get other districts on the other side of the river next to it, giving it pretty easy +3 or +4 adjacency. Unlike something like theater scores that require a lot of infrastructure, it is easier to get gold, and so the commercial hub is not quite as helpful all the time. But in terms of getting a high adjacency number, it is really nice and easy with this river bonus here. You get +2 gold from each adjacent harbor tile. We are going to spend a little bit of time at the end talking about putting commercial hubs and harbors together and why I don't usually recommend it, even with this +2 gold here, so just keep that in mind. Then you get a Royal Navy Dockyard. It's just the English Victoria and Eleanor version of the harbor. 1 gold from every 2 adjacent districts. That's the same as all districts. 1 gold from Government Plaza. Pamukkale Kothon, another unique harbor for Dido. 2 golds from each ley line. Hermetic Order sucks. I just need to dunk on Hermetic Order. I did a whole video now, though. I have done a video on the Hermetic Order and why it's like not actually that bad, but the other 3 are just better. And then you get 2 gold from each Solar D Uni tile. Anyways, mostly the river and the adjacent districts are what's going to help you out here. This music is really bopping me into the video here. One of the things that makes commercial hubs so useful to build early, I find myself not usually building them for the gold. I find that I usually have gold early, and that's not a problem, although more gold is never a problem. More gold is never a problem. I really always enjoy when that gold number per turn is going up. The market is the big deal early on that can really help you out here. The market is going to give you +1 trade route capacity. This is huge. Trade routes are so functional. I think I have another video on trade routes and how they work. If not, I'll do one soon. Trade routes are super good for getting more gold. You can do internal trade routes to get like a brand new city up and running with food and production really quick. They're super helpful on higher difficulties for making the AI friendly with you. They create roads. Trade routes do so much for you that getting a commercial hub down, getting a market down to get this trade route is very nice, and one of the main reasons I find myself building commercial hubs early. In addition, you're going to get an extra great merchant point, an extra citizen slot, and +2 gold, all good things, but the main draw of that early commercial hub is the market here for this extra trade route spot. Moving on from the market, we have the bank. Now, the bank comes in a little bit later in the game, and like the rest of the commercial hub, I just really enjoy kind of how it's laid out throughout the game and throughout the tech tree. The bank is going to give you +5 gold, another citizen slot, and another great merchant point, which is awesome. But like I just mentioned, I really enjoy, and I have to try and find banking here. I like that banking is in the Renaissance era. It's early on. It's not overly difficult to get to. It's kind of right in the middle. Whether you're going up the top of the tech tree or down the bottom, it's usually a place you can stop by pretty easily here. So I like where it's located. But mostly what I really enjoy is you get to here, you build your commercial hubs with your markets, then you can kind of leave them. You don't usually need to rush the bank. What this allows you to do, you get your commercial hub, you get your market, you now have that trade route capacity, you're getting a little bit of gold. That's awesome. Now you can kind of leave the bank for a little bit in most of your games, and then you can start building some other infrastructure. To build the commercial hub, it means it's taking up a district slot. So maybe you've had to wait for your city to grow to put down that campus you want, or the encampment, or the entertainment complex, or the industrial zone. So the commercial hub allows you to breathe a little bit in the game. It's not like once you build the commercial hub in the market, oh, there's another thing to build. You get to max out your commercial hub, and then the game gives you time to move on to other things, and that really vibes with how I like to play Civ, where I don't have too much going on at one time. Obviously hard to do that when you have Civ, which is a complicated game, but commercial hubs they exist. They're great. They give you time to breathe. Overall, they just feel good within the timing and the balance of the game. Once again, once you build the bank, you get a little bit of time to breathe. You got a lot of stuff to get through before you get to economics here. And that's where we hit the stock exchange here in the Big Ben. So the stock exchange here is +4 gold, +7 gold additionally when powered. So it encourages you to power up your empire, just like research labs would or broadcast centers would. If you have the ability to power up your empire, you're going to be getting more gold from your stock exchanges here. Gives you 1 extra great merchant point, gives you 1 extra citizen, which is awesome. We're going to talk about the monopolies and corporations mode in a minute here, but it also unlocks the ability to build the Big Ben. The Big Ben is an amazing wonder if you can get it in your games. It gives you an extra economic policy slot. So overall, again, another part of the district here that I really enjoy building in all my commercial hubs, and then getting the Big Ben if you can is a nice boon on top of that as well. Before we get into some of the different things that happen with commercial hubs, I I just want to give my overall impressions from them so you can get an idea about how I approach building them. I treat commercial hubs kind of like I treat the pacing of spies. You're gonna want lots of them in your games. There's very few games where I don't end up with lots of commercial hubs, but I typically spread them out throughout the game. If you build them all too soon in all of your cities, then you're missing out on science and culture that's otherwise hard to come by, whereas gold I find is easier to come by or easier to get from a trade from the AI. The AI can't trade me science, but they can trade me gold, and so I don't need all my commercial hubs at one time, but you are going to need quite a few of them. So I like to think of them like spies. I want one commercial hub early. I want that second trade route. I want to have a really good solid gold income. Maybe once an era, once every era and a half, I'll put down another commercial hub. I'll put down a commercial hub early on. I'll build my other districts around it. I'll get that extra trade route. Then I'll wait a little. I'll let the game breathe. Once we get maybe into the Renaissance era and we're hitting up banks, maybe then I'll get another commercial hub from there. And then you got 3 trade routes now. And you can see how this starts to build. This is a little different when we get to harbors, but for commercial hubs specifically, I just like to let them breathe. So I would say in a game, we even have the Big Ben in this game, which is awesome. In a game with like 10 to 12 cities that I'm building myself, I want to say I'm going to end up with around 6 commercial hubs. It's going to be quite a few. There's going to be quite a few of them in every game, but usually always spaced out. I can't remember the last time I played Civ and just either rushed a bunch of commercial hubs or just didn't build any till the end of the game. So think of them like spies. If you already have 1 or 2, every time you get a spy slot, if you're building a commercial hub then you're usually on that like nice breathable pace that the commercial hubs allow you to have. With the new Frontier Pass, there are 2 new game modes that kind of influence this decision making a little bit about what you're going to want to do here. The newest game mode that does this, I should have gone in the other order, but I'm here. The newest game mode that does this is the Monopolies and Corporations mode, and that turns your stock exchanges into product storage facilities here. This is a bad example because I do have that 1 million gold, I do have the 1 million gold Portugal game. Maybe I'll bring that up at the end of this video. That's a better example. But as you can see here in our stock exchanges here, you can put products in here. Products come from corporations, which we'll talk about later, but you can get kind of industry boosts in all of your other cities by moving them between stock exchanges. So in a Monopolies and Corporations mode, if you do have the ability with your corporations to start building some of those products, you're going to want a few stock exchanges kind of moved around or a few shipyards moved around your cities so you can have those in the right places. So that might change which cities you want to build stock exchanges in or how many you want to build if you are planning on moving products through all of your cities. The next and more noticeable and more important kind of thing that would change based on your game mode is the Gilded Vault. If you're going Owls of Minerva, there's a lot of great things with Owls of Minerva. I just made a video on secret societies that you can check out. Basically, Owls of Minerva gives you envoys, gives you the Gilded Vault. It's going to give you some policy card slots. It's fantastic stuff. This Gilded Vault is very important. Unique to Owls of Minerva, replaces the bank. This commercial hub generates culture equal to its gold adjacency bonus. Having a harbor in this city provides you with +1 trade route capacity. This is the perfect springboard to harbors, and I'll explain why a little bit later, but for at least this first bit here, getting culture from your Gilded Vaults means possibly you might not need to build as many theater squares. What you don't get out of Gilded Vaults are slots to put great works of writing, great works of art, or points towards those great people, great writer points, great artist points. But if what you're doing is you're just looking for culture, you don't really care about the great works of art or the great artist points. In a science game, this might be the case. You just want your culture number high so you can get through the tree, but you don't necessarily need all the great people that come with it. This can be a really good replacement for a theater square in some of your cities, in which case you will be building more commercial hubs than normal, and you will be building them usually a little bit earlier than normal. Because the Gilded Vault replaces the bank, you do want to have most of your commercial hubs already down by the time you hit the bank so you can immediately build the Gilded Vaults and have that culture stacking as early as possible. So that might change your tempo a little bit. If I am going Owls of Minerva, I will typically build my commercial hubs a little earlier than I might otherwise, just to make sure I have the Gilded Vaults ready to go once we hit banking. Next up, let's talk about harbors. In the tech tree, harbors are a little bit trickier to get to. They come at the same point in the classical era. I've actually finished a lot of Civ games and not even realized that I hadn't gone Celestial Navigation. Just so there's some Pangea maps where you just never need harbors and never think about them. And I get reminded when I take over a city and I can't repair the harbor, like, oh, I haven't researched celestial navigation yet, so it is a little bit trickier to kind of get up to celestial navigation. The boost is a little bit harder, but the harbors do come at the same point in the game. Harbors definitely serve a different purpose than commercial hubs in a lot of ways, but in many ways they're also very similar, mostly as a gold generating district. It is a naval activity kind of district here. It has a few different removing movement penalties for boats and all of that kind of stuff here. But here we have lots of gold stuff as well. It's going to give you gold for being adjacent to things. Its pillage award is gold if you pillage some harbors. Citizen yields are gold as well. It's just good to keep in mind that in terms of gold generation, these districts are a little bit similar. Another way these districts are very, very similar is the Lighthouse. Now, the Lighthouse does do a lot. The thing it does the same as the market in the commercial hub is it gives you that extra trade route. So when you're building your harbors, same kind of thing applies. Getting the harbor, then getting the Lighthouse is really nice because then you get that extra trade route, and those trade routes are very important for all the reasons I already mentioned. This is where harbors get a little different, though. We are going to get this trade route from commercial hubs, and so far the district is mostly the same. It's going to give us gold, it's going to give us an extra trade route. Placement is obviously a little different. One's on land, one's in the water, but it feels very similar in terms of what you're getting. Now, here's where the harbor does change up a little bit. It also has naval unit bonuses, 25% combat experience, good stuff, +1 food on all coast tiles for the city. One of the main differences here is that the harbor actively makes ocean tiles better. So if we come here to the Lighthouse, ocean tiles are getting extra food. That's fantastic. We come from the Lighthouse to the seaport, +2 gold on all coast tiles in the city. So all of our ocean tiles are again getting a little bit better, all the coast tiles around our city there. If we go back to the harbor again, then we have the shipyard, +1 production on all unimproved coast and lake tiles for this city. So the commercial hub does not improve any other tiles other than commercial hub, but the harbor district does improve the ocean tiles, which as you can see can be pretty lacking if you don't have anything improving them. What this means functionally in your games is that the harbor can become way more important to your city than the commercial hub. In any one city, the commercial hub, it's a great way to get gold. It's a great way to get a trade route. It helps provide one district of adjacency to every district's two, right? Every district being near 2 other districts gives a +1 adjacency, and having the commercial hub be one of those districts is great. But overall, in any one particular city, the commercial hub's not overly important because you can usually just move your trade route around, and building a commercial hub in any one city usually doesn't feel too much different than building it in any other. The harbor, though, can make or break a city. In a city like Jiangsu here, what would I even do without a harbor? Like, what would I even do? There's no good tiles here to work. This volcano keeps erupting here. The only tiles I really have to work with my 14 population are ocean tiles, and one of the only ways I can improve the ocean tiles is by building a harbor. So in any city that has a lot of ocean tiles, I might elect to build a harbor instead of a commercial hub. I'm still getting the gold, I'm still getting the trade route, not to mention building harbors gives you a trade route kind of extender if you're trading with another harbor, which is exciting. You can extend over longer distances early on if you're trading from harbor to harbor, which is awesome. And so building the harbor is much more important in a city with a lot of ocean tiles than building the commercial hub is in a city with a lot of land tiles. What this means is if I'm playing an archipelago map, I go in on the harbors. I don't mess around. I go straight for them. Harbor in every ocean-based city. Any city that has loads of ocean tiles, I need to work. I gotta get a harbor in there right away. I gotta get the harbor buildings in there right away to make those tiles better, which is something I don't need to do with the commercial hub because, like I just keep talking about breathing, the commercial hub lets you breathe. If you're picking the commercial hub over the harbor, it's because you're on land and you like just doing yoga and hanging out and meditating a little bit and just enjoying a casual pace. If you have a lot of cities with a lot of ocean tiles, you gotta get those harbors. It's very choppy, it's very aggressive. You gotta get them in, you gotta improve the tiles. Look at how bad these tiles are compared to how good these tiles are. That's all harbors, baby. That's all harbors. Very, very important district when you need them. Now the question might be, well, VB, I build harbors and commercial hubs in almost every city because they have adjacency bonuses together. And I know you do. I know you do that because people always ask me why I don't do that. So let's talk about building harbors and commercial hubs in the same city. I have talked a lot about, in my Civ career, just about not building harbors and commercial hubs in the same city. And there's one big reason for this. Let's head back to the market. And this is all about efficiency. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it's a bad thing to do. In any case, you're just going to get a whole bunch more gold because the adjacencies are going to match each other. Both the harbor and I believe the harbor and the commercial hub are going to get an extra 2 gold. Is that correct? That is not correct. Just the commercial hub's going to get an extra 2 gold, but either way, you're going to be getting more gold than not for having them together. Anyways, what I was going to say though is if we go to the market here, if we just go do a quick Google and head to the market, the part I didn't read earlier, +1 trade route capacity if this city does not yet have a lighthouse. What this means is if I build a commercial hub in a market and a harbor and a lighthouse in one city, I don't get 2 trade routes. Even though both buildings give me trade routes, I don't get both trade routes. And that's just a little bit of an inefficiency that I don't enjoy, because one of the main reasons I'm building the district is for the trade route. In a game like Civilization, as you are moving up the difficulties, efficiency matters more and more, and it's very important to be efficient with your districts. You only have so much population, you can only put so many districts down, and gold is already easy enough to come by without commercial hubs or harbors that you can make do without having 2 in a city. And if you're putting 2 in a city and it's not going to be perfectly efficient, I would usually replace that with a campus, with a theater square, with an industrial zone, with something that's giving me something that I can't already get, instead of two districts that are running at 80%. Now, that's not to say there aren't times where building commercial hubs and harbors are good together and efficient, or that's not me saying that you shouldn't do it if you already do. If that's how you like playing Civ, keep playing Civ that way. You're meant to play video games to have fun, and if you have fun building them in the same city, don't let me stop you from doing that. Reina is a big reason. If we go to our governors here, freaking spies taking out Pingala. If you get the harbor master ability here and you are putting Reina in one city to hang out for a while, double the adjacency bonuses from commercial hubs and harbors in the city. I will frequently, if I have Reina, put her in a coastal city, build a harbor and a commercial hub next to each other there, and get both of those bonuses. So in the one city that I have Reina every couple of games, I do find the harbor master with a harbor and a commercial hub to be relatively efficient. The next time it makes a lot of sense is if you are playing with secret societies, you've gone Owls of Minerva, and you are getting these gilded vaults we talked about here. Having a harbor in this city provides you with +1 trade route capacity here. So it's very, very nice way to kind of make that efficiency, massage it out, smooth it over. Now, not only do you get the trade route that I didn't like missing out on earlier, you're also getting the culture and all of the other fun stuff. So if you have a commercial hub with a gilded vault in a city with a harbor, I still don't think it's perfectly efficient, but it does solve a lot of that trade route stuff. And because it's possibly saving you from having a theater square, in some cases it might even be more efficient. Even though on the whole I think it's still not perfectly efficient, in some cases it might be well more efficient. So just play it by ear, but these gilded vaults can do a lot to mitigate the inefficiency there. The last thing I want to say about using harbors and commercial hubs together is you're going to have to get a vibe from each of your games. If you are in a game with a lot of harbors because you have a lot of ocean cities, maybe you don't need to build so many commercial hubs in the middle. Your cities all add their yields together, right? Now, that's not always the case if you have like the Oxford University, which is giving science to one specific city. But in terms of adding them up at the top, this 1900 is coming from all my cities, not just one city. What I'm trying to say is if you have a harbor here and a harbor here and a harbor here and a harbor here on all of your coastal cities, and you're getting gold and you're getting trade routes, maybe in your landlocked cities, you might not need as many commercial hubs. So in a game where you have about an equal amount of land cities and ocean cities, I typically prioritize building the harbors in my ocean cities because you need them to make the tiles good, and then not building commercial hubs in my kind of land-based cities, because that's where I'll build my campuses, my theater squares, whatever else I need to build, and that'll provide the science and culture to my empire. The coastal cities will provide the gold to my empire, and that's a nice kind of yin-yang balance. So if you have to choose, if you have 10 cities, 5 of them are cities where you'd have a good harbor, 5 of them are cities where you have a good commercial hub, I would pick the 5 cities with the good harbor and build none of the commercial hubs over the 5 commercial hubs and none of the harbors, if that distinction is making sense. Another thing to consider in your games might be wonders. Obviously, if you want to build the Big Ben in a particular city, you're going to have a commercial hub in that particular city, regardless of what you're doing elsewhere. If you want to build the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus in one of your cities, can I click on that? Thank you. Must be built adjacent to a harbor district. You're going to need a harbor in that city, regardless of what else is going on. So obviously, feel free to disregard any kind of advice or rules if you are trying to build wonders. It's the same with the Colosseum. If I want the Colosseum, I have to build an entertainment complex. I don't have a choice. Same with Mausoleum, same with Big Ben. If you need a commercial hub or a harbor for a specific wonder you're trying to get, then you're going to need to build it kind of irrelevant of the other things we've talked about today. In any case, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Either I hope you learned something or you enjoyed just kind of listening to my take on these districts and how I use them. Just a reminder that all of these things are just my opinion. There are a million ways to play Civ, so if you have a different opinion, feel free to put it in the comments below. I've been loving reading all the different ways people approach things differently to how I do. I try and stick around in the comments and kind of chat with you guys a little bit. Feel free to join the Discord server to continue the conversation. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Make sure you thank Onvars for editing this video. He is our editor. He is amazing. He is saving my life this summer, and I appreciate him greatly. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Genuinely, thank you so much for watching these videos. I appreciate you. I think Onvars appreciates you guys as well. I would assume so. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.